So Trump has been trying to rally support from allies to help with the war, and the least you could say is it's not going great.
We don't need anybody.
There's been reporting that the US was trying to arm Kurdish forces in Iraq and asking them to help overthrow the regime in the early days of the war. Except Trump, during his first term, majorly screwed the Kurds over, so they responded to the request to get involved with a clear "leave us out of this." Meanwhile, Trump has been trying to get NATO countries to pitch in, especially with securing the Strait of Hormuz to secure shipping lanes. But NATO countries aren't that favorably disposed towards Trump after the administration spent months threatening to forcibly take over Greenland, a territory of Denmark, which is a NATO member. So when asked to help the US carry out a completely unprovoked war in Iran, they quite understandably said, "This is not our war." French President Emmanuel Macron described the war in Iran as being conducted, quote, "outside the framework of international law." Even Trump's buddies on the far right end of the spectrum, like Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, also described attacking Iran as part of a growing and dangerous trend of interventions outside the scope of international law. And the Spanish government went as far as closing Spain's airspace to US military planes involved in Iran. And it's also worth noting that one of the first things Trump did when he came back to the White House in 2025 was to end all US spending on Ukraine's defense. There's still US-made equipment going to Ukraine, but that equipment has to be bought and paid for by the EU. In other words, the US is now turning a profit off the EU's back from Russia's invasion in Ukraine, which led to this moment with the president of Finland during a press conference.
Why doesn't Europe go to Trump and say, if you want assistance in the Gulf, here's what we want you to do on Ukraine?
I think it's a really good idea. I might pick you up on that.
Now, one of Iran's main weapons is called the Shahed drone, which Russia has been extensively using in Ukraine since 2022. So Trump has been trying to enlist Ukraine's help given their extensive experience dealing with Shaheds. And even though Zelensky has agreed to help, whatever assistance comes from Ukraine will come at the expense of their own defense while they're still dealing with Russia's invasion. But don't worry, because while Trump has been alienating every single US ally in the world, he made new buddies. And the Board of Peace that he created a few months ago will definitely come to the US's aid. I'm just kidding. Of course they won't. The Board of Peace is a joke. And the fact that the US can't get help from any of their allies is why Trump is increasingly desperate and lashing out at everyone.
We don't need anybody. We have the strongest military by far in the world. We don't need them.
And this is what analysts have been warning about for years when they pointed to Trump antagonizing the US's historical allies. And there's a very real possibility this could lead to the US leaving NATO.